Welcome back, everybody, to Sonic06, the greatest video game ever made. Anyhow, I was originally going to do the DLC stuff with David. However, he has a life, and I don't think that he even wants to sit through this. But that's okay. And he will be back for the final 2 episodes. That's with him for sure. But the DLC and the like, that's for me to discuss. And the first thing I want to point out about this DLC is that they actually modified Tails' control scheme. Tails moves a lot faster on the ground in this DLC than he does at any other point in the game, which tells me that through updates, they could have gone back and fixed this game. Now, I don't think we should ever condone them, patching a game via DLC. Cough, cough, Sonic Unleashed, chip crashing the game, cough, cough. But it would have been better than nothing, at the very least. And the thing is that the patch only affected Tails in this Team Attack Amigo scenario. It doesn't affect him throughout the whole game. And that is a bit of a weird aspect to it, if you ask me. Which, it is what it is. And Team Attack Amigos is surprisingly harder than the base campaign. I do give it credit though, there's no hub world, there's no cutscenes, it's just one thing and one thing alone, gaming. And man, this is part of the reason why I respect this game so much, because yeah, it does have a lot of issues. However, it does want you to have fun playing the game, which a lot of games nowadays really don't care about, and that is why I keep coming back to this game. Okay, year after year, somehow, someway, I have done a playthrough of this game every year since 06 for the past 19 years. What the fuck? And there are some years where I'll even replay through the game more than once too. That's the crazy part. I don't know what it is about this game, man, but I keep playing it. This game can't be bad if there's something about it that compels me to keep replaying it. I don't know. I'm not a speedrunner or anything, I just play the game casually. I think I've been forced into casualization of gaming as life has gone by. And that's fine. That is honestly fine. It's just an aspect of life. You get older, you can't take games seriously anymore, you realize that it's just a pastime and you have to move on. Not like when you're a teenager and you go, oh yeah, time to play games forever, and the like. That's just the way I see it. Anyhow, Tails' Team Attack Amigo stages are Crisis City, the Radical Train, and Kingdom Valley, which means that at some point off-screen, Tails completed the Trials of Soleanna. I don't know what his trials were, but they were completed. The thing about Tails' Radical Train is that he has to protect a train similar to Sonic and Shadow. Well, in the case of Sonic, he had to protect 2 trains. Let's remember that. But yeah. The level design itself is relatively unchanged. It's just playing through the same level. Sometimes it's with the same structure. Sometimes you play it backwards like you do here. Sometimes there's a different stipulation, like with Omega, you have to hunt down the enemies. Or they'll trap you in boxes like this and force you to fight things, which honestly, I think the actual base game, could have used with harder level design. Because that is the case about Team Attack Amigo stuff. It is harder. It's not to the point of frustration like in something along the lines of Dark Souls. Oh, hell no, it's not even close. Dark Souls is still way harder. But it does keep you on your toes with these updated challenges, and I really like them. The pop-in is a bit bad, but remember, this is a 360 game from 06, so I'm a lot more forgiving towards it. Whenever it happens to modern games, I think I'm a lot stricter with my criteria of judgment. For example, I gave shit to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for making us read the cutscenes and for having the lazy fade to black instead of animation type of transition, which the other Pokemon games definitely did, but there's a difference when you're using a system from the 1990s that's full of tech that realistically could have been put together in the 80s, and playing a game on that, rather than a system that's designed to be on my TV, to be, played for extended duration of time. And that is where my biggest gripes with Scarlet and Violet are, is the fact of no evolution for the series. I'm not asking the games look like Unreal Engine 5, 4K, 144 hertz, super animated realistic simulators. No. As a matter of fact, I think that would be a mistake. What I'm asking for, however, is some modernization. If we're gonna be on the TV, I don't want to be reading text boxes. I want to actually listen to the dialogue. Anyhow, with Tails out of the way, now we have I would say the best character other than Sonic, which is Blaze the cat. Here we get to see her in the tropical jungle, doing her thing. She's just going to be absolutely shredding the location, and wow, the frames are dipping in this area. Throughout this adventure, I've realized that, well, not I've realized, but just one thing I've come to terms with is the fact that I still think Sonic is better, but I now understand the argument behind why Blaze is the better character. It's not an argument that I agree with per se, but it is one that I can understand and get behind. There really is a lot of lag in this game that I've noticed, and it's weird because normally I hate lag spikes like that in games, but it gets to a point where while you're playing it, it doesn't affect you. just because you've played the game so much. But if it's a game that I'm relatively new to, it probably would bother me a lot more. I'm not sure how it looks like for you, but this game will occasionally dip from 60 down to like 30 or a bit lower, which is fine. Okay, it's a 2000s era game. I've seen frame rate drops like in GTA San Andreas, which I believe was only 2 years prior to this. I think San Andreas is 04. I'll have to look that up later. The Blaze campaign section for Team Attack Amigos revolves still just like Tails and soon to be Omega getting to the goal ring. Albeit while Tails was more focused on completion time, trying to go through it as fast as possible, Blaze is more along the lines of just the more serious platforming. She has the actual platforming challenges. You really have to think about your positioning, your landing. You saw it earlier in this level, and it's especially going to be apparent in Aquatic Base. Aquatic Base is probably the level where the platforming for Blaze gets the most hectic. And after Aquatic Base, we will be doing White Acropolis and Dusty Desert with Omega. Omega's the typical kill all the enemies route type of level design. It's cool. Also makes you go through the levels backwards, which I also find really interesting as well. Blaze doing these sort of levels like this, however, Blaze's platforming is more intricate than any of the platforming in the rest of the game. Yes, there are some side quests in the Sonic campaign that feature quite intricate platforming, but the truth is the Sonic campaign is about going through it as fast as you humanly can, and it's really fun because of that. It's a nice challenge to try to speedrun Sonic's campaign. I wasn't doing a speedrun for this playthrough, I was just playing the game normally. I played the game to the best of my abilities, and man, just the more I play this game, the more fun I seem to be having. And while it may look like, yeah, because there are bugs, I'm not going to deny it, I'm not delusional. But man, even with the bugs, the actual base game has so much good in it, man. There's so much passion in it. There's so much, you know, a genius behind it. It really is just a shame that the load times, the slowdown, and the bugs really were keeping this game, you know, held back. I really think that to this day, the greatest video game in the history of all humanity would have been Sonic 07. But for what we got, I'm happy with what it is. I do like the game quite a lot. And honestly, after all these years, I forgave Yuji Naka, okay? Yuji Naka, I have no hatred towards that man anymore. I used to hate him for leaving Doritos. Like, I used to actually harbor ill will towards that guy. And honestly, it's like, dude, it's a freaking video game. Who cares at the end of the day? That is probably what's gonna keep me down, though, because a lot of people really care about games to the point where they treat it like a job. And that has always irked me. I mean, if it actually is your job, like you're a full-time YouTuber or a streamer, that's different. But there are people who just, like, don't get a job, and they just sit in their apartment building that their friend lets them crash in, playing Call of Duty or something. I think it's a bit trashy, but that's just me. Anyhow, this is what I mean by the more intricate platforming. We have to space the jumps, we have to time the jumps, we have to build up the momentum so that we get the right jump arc, killing the enemies to make sure they don't kill us. I think that this is the kind of platforming that we need more of in, say, a Sonic Frontiers 2, because that's probably the one game from Sega that I'm actually looking forward to a lot is Frontiers 2. That is what's gonna make or break how I continue to treat the Sonic series. Because Frontiers 1, they had such, and I mean such a good foundation for a Frontiers series, and I really like it. But but Shadow Generations, I think, it did fix the level design, okay? The Shadow Generations levels were way better than anything in cyberspace, but the actual open zone area, so Shadow's White Space versus the 5 islands of Frontiers, well, 4 islands of Frontiers, the 4 islands were just way better, and it's not even close. I think the movement is better too in Frontiers. The fact that you can turn off air drag is probably the best feature ever added to this series, and I will die on that hill. I think that air drag in Sonic needs to go away. It makes you slower by having air drag in the game. That's just my thoughts on it. We're almost done with the platforming. I'm pretty sure I could have made that jump from here to there. Oh, I do. No, do I make that jump? Do I even attempt it? No, I just used this. Yeah, I thought so. I'm pretty sure you can make it, but I think I was too scared. You gotta get the timing right. That is one issue with the more intricate platforming, is that you do find yourself standing still for quite a bit of the duration of the episode. As a matter of fact, you even see the idle animation begin to pop up there. And that's not what you want. I was just waiting for the balls to appear at a right timing so that I could jump through it without any issues. Because one thing, like I said before, is for the Team Attack Amigo. One thing for the Team Attack Amigo is that it is just harder. And you can feel it as you're playing. The actual level design, however, is relatively unchanged, barring some alternate platforming sections, and in the case of Omega, way more enemies, like a lot more. I just run into, whatever. Sorry for the distraction there. I think I was dumbfounded at the fact that I just walked into an enemy. I'm looking forward to Sonic Unleashed when we do it. The Sonic Unleashed playthrough, I think, will be a lot less disagreeable and more agreeable, which I think is good. Furthermore, There are moments like this where you just say to yourself, this is too many enemies that... Like, it's not even like with Shadow or Silver where you have a bar that you fill up by killing enemies. You don't have any such bar with Blaze, so a lot of enemies with Blaze just seems like a score multiplier, and that's about it. Which is fine if you want to, if you care for the ranks, because I've said it before, ranks should be a bonus, not the main appeal. That's actually a lot of my issue with the Sonic Adventure 2 level design, is the fact that it feels more like you're just trying to get ranked rather than enjoy the level. As with 06, even if I get B ranks, I'm not really mad. I actually have a good time with it. It's just the fact that the ranking itself is a bonus to me, not that it is my primary objective when playing 06. This should be the last Team Attack Amigo level. I believe it is. If not, then it's... No, it's not. White Acropolis is after this. After White Acropolis should be the last Team Attack Amigo. Now, if you're smart, you could actually fly to the gold ring. You don't have to kill a single enemy as Omega in Dusty Desert, but I wanted to show off the legitimate way to do it. Okay, I've paid for this DLC more than once. I do not regret it. I've had more fun playing this DLC than other DLCs in video games, but that's just me. We go through here, and we take out the enemies. I tried to use the straight up punch, but it doesn't work that well against enemies in the air, so I swapped over to the laser. The movement like this is actually slower. There's just something really fun about jumping in the air and mashing A and not losing altitude. I don't know what it is, man. Maybe it's just me, but I get the weirdest enjoyment out of things in games. It's not even the intentional aspects to it. There are just some aspects in video games that I just have a unique sense of enjoyment for. And this is actually a really cool area because it makes you think about traversal. You can't get up there in the traditional way. So how do you progress? So they put this invincibility there to help you get rid of the enemies. How do you progress is the question. You can't jump back there. The lasers will stop you even if you do jump up there. So how do you go through? Something that a lot of older games did that newer games don't. They will throw you for a loop and you have to figure it out, and that's something that I miss, actually having to figure out aspects in video games. Newer games, they don't do that, man. They really don't. What you really have to do is go around, but as you can see, I'm thinking about it, and the reason I'm thinking about it is to show off how the first-time player would look through this section. I'm not intentionally playing badly, okay? That is one thing. I am playing to the best of my abilities. I'm not, you know, taking the piss out of this game. I think that taking the piss out of a game that people consider bad for the sake of making it look worse is disingenuous. But now I'm up there, and we get to fight some more robots. We take down the laser beams, and we can progress normally. Oh, I didn't see the missile. Damn me. You can actually go up there to the 1-up, and then there's an alternative route that you can take, but that's not what I did. I instead did it the way that Sega intended, not Sega, Sonic Team intended, by flying over the enemies, baby. This level is really long, by the way. It's, Team Attack Amigos, despite being multiple levels where you play different characters, is classified as one giant level. And because of that, and because of its classification, you find yourself trying to get good at all aspects of it to try to get a higher rank. I'm pretty sure I get an A rank. I don't think I get the S rank during this run. Like I said, this is not an S rank run, it's just a no death run. Just to show that it can be done, because one thing that I wasn't too big on in a lot of older Let's Plays is just seeing the people die over and over again. I don't think that's cool. You just need to take out this last enemy, then we can go down there for the platforming challenges, and we'll be able to continue on to the gold ring. Get to the gold ring, level design is always good. Now, Sonic games, in particular, when I think about it, are quite infamous for how difficult it is to record them. Most of the time, I just think that it has to do with the fact that you're moving so fast, so you create a lot of bitrate compression if you're recording at a lower bitrate. Oh, the jukes! The jukes, and it all went to shit. I was doing so well there, man. I was actually feeling proud of that. Damn. But I failed in the jukes. I somehow don't die here. I try to go down so that I can get the ring capsule, so that I don't get ganked in the next area, which, you know, thank goodness I did that. Because over to the right, they just spawn wave after enemy, and they all use, not all of them, but a good chunk of them use Vulcan cannon shots. And while they don't hurt individually, they do cut down your rings bit by bit. But if you're getting hit with 10 or more Vulcan cannon shots at once, even if you have 10 rings, you'll die in under 2 seconds. Bam. Whoa, 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 whoa. What am I doing? That is not how you set that up. This section itself is really unique, I think, in a way, because it has you look into the style of game. Because normally this is a high-speed action platformer, but by getting rid of Sonic and Blaze, it now becomes just an action platformer. But in a way that it doesn't dilute it. We still have the good level design, we still have the good gameplay. I kind of wish Team Attack Amigos was a bonus side story, and it's just these three teaming up. But I understand that they were rushed, so they probably didn't have time to voice act anything or make cutscenes for it. Okay, so I get it. we're just going through all of the items. Yes. Man, I'm looking forward to the future of Sonic. After Frontiers and Shadow Gems proved to me that they could make a good Sonic game, and that it wasn't over like I thought it was back in 2017, I'm just very excited. Crossworlds looks fun. I don't know if it's gonna be better than Mario Kart. Overall, this level should now be finished, and we get to go to the White Acropolis. The White Acropolis was Eggman's base during this game. I think that I might have talked over a lot of the details of the story with my co-host David, so I actually get to just keep my own thoughts in here, and I think that's great. And the playlist, do you guys want me to put this in the middle of the playthrough, or do you want me to put it after the playthrough, as in after episode 5? I'll ask you guys when these videos come out. Just let me know in the comments section. Here we have the area White Acropolis, and this is a kill all the enemies quest. This is not a get to the gold ring type of quest. This isn't a speed quest, do this in X amount of time. This isn't even a ring capture quest. No, this is kill everything. Kind of reminds me of Shadow the Hedgehog in that way, except Shadow the Hedgehog gave you a counter, and that counter allowed you to keep track of how many enemies you've killed in the level, which is good. I don't think that it was a good idea to remove the counter, but the thing is that the enemies in this game stick out a lot more than the black arms did in the black and gray environments of Shadow the Hedgehog. So I'm okay with not having a counter. I would prefer having one in general, but not having one in this specific case is not the end of the world. Yeah, using cover in my platformer. What is this, Gears of War? Just kidding. Gears of War. I never liked Gears of War back then. It looked like a series I would be into, but you know what it was? Is that Judgment was just shit. And then I didn't care about Gears 5. Gears 5 looked like ass. Then I saw the reviews and I was right. And the thing is, that was before the game's journalists were corrupted in 2016 by Anita Sarkeesian. Is that true? What year did Gears 5 come out? Gears of War 5 release date. Oh no, it was after the game reviewers were corrupted by Anita Sarkeesian. Okay, it was 2019. Damn, my freaking timing is just way off apparently. That was 3 years off. I sincerely apologize for that. Now I need to think back to what actually happened then. Interesting. So we're gonna move on from that. Yeah, the Killathon quest for the the Eggman robots in Omega's section, I think is a cool idea, because Eggman always played on the idea of, I will annihilate everything that is a reference to Eggman. And the like, so doing kill quests with him makes sense to me. It's in character. So even though that you can tell where the cut corners are, they're still trying to provide a good experience, and that's partially why I like Sega. Sega may cut corners, but they're not lazy. They just run out of time, or they just don't have enough budget. Sega is one of the few studios I still trust. They need to get rid of hit detection though. Hit detection is a horrible thing for the English dub. Hit detection and Roger Craig Smith are why I play the games, the newer ones in Japanese. If they don't get rid of those two, then it's a wrap. We'll stay playing Japanese for a while. But that's super hardcore weeaboo stuff. That's not what the average person thinks. At least I don't think so. And why didn't I just use the glitch to fly up with Omega across the wall to get to that switch way earlier? Well, you see, that switch doesn't spawn if you don't kill all the enemies. That's why. Whoa, that was a lot. See, sometimes they just spawn right in front of you like that. I think that's cheap design. But to be fair, every Sonic game has done some nonsense like that. Since Sonic 2 with the freaking slicers. Sonic CD did that at the end of the game where you had to fight 3 enemies before you could open the door to the final boss. I know Sonic 1 did some stupid shit like that in Labyrinth Zone as well, so since the beginning, that's just something that Sonic does. Look, there are aspects of Sonic in general that I'm just not a big fan of. Enemy spawning right in front of you is definitely one of them. Sonic 3 and K surprisingly didn't do it that much. It did, but not a lot. Oh, am I trying to do the... No, I'm not. I'm actually trying to play the levels legitimately. Yeah, I am. So instead of, you know, fighting my way through, we gotta kill all the enemies. And to be honest, once you get good with Omega and you realize that the best trick is to keep your distance, the combat does become a bit boring. It is more fun to just go in guns a-blazing and charge at the enemies, but keeping your distance is just way safer, as you can see. Look at that, I was only hit by 2 Vulcan cannon fires instead of 8. It might be 8 or 6 that those robots have, I don't remember. Man, I freaking love this game, man. It does so much right. And it really is just held back by technical issues. If the gameplay could have been fixed back then, this series would be in a much better place than it currently is. Sonic would have been a AAA series even after Unleashed. Because after Unleashed, which was the last AAA game until Frontiers, crazy, right? That's freaking crazy to me. Oh my goodness. Is that a 14-year wait? I think so, right? 2008 to 2022? That's 14 years. We had to wait 14 years for the next AAA Sonic game. What is that nonsense? And even then, Frontiers, as much as I like Frontiers, a lot of people didn't, and that does sadden me quite a lot. And now we get to the Egg Genesis, which I think should have been called the Egg Mega Drive in Europe. I made that joke before, but I just thought it was a funny joke to say again. Our buddy here, the Egg Mega Drive, is slowly but surely helping us out. We gotta shoot the core, dodge the missiles. You've seen this fight many, many times. You know how it goes, and I think you understand. Now, the fact that you can multi-target his items is criminal, because that allows you to just drain his health bar like nothing else. And unlike Silver, Omega is the fastest character, so you'll never get hit by that laser as long as you're moving. I guess if you like get lazy, you'll get hit by it, but it's not like, even there, if I was Silver, I would have been hit by those missiles, no questions. But because I'm playing as Omega, I'm able to just dodge them. I don't care. We're already halfway through his health bar, that's good. Then we just keep the pattern repeating. We just jump whenever we need to jump, and then once we're in the clear, we just, once he gets shot enough times, he just falls down. The Egg Genesis, Egg Mega Drive weapon will go down. Boom. Robot on robot violence. Somebody call the media so they can ignore this. I might edit that out. I don't know. I might. I don't think I will. I think I'll leave it in. Yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that in, because it's funny to me. I keep wanting to call it the Egg Mega Drive now. The Egg Mega Drive is, once again, an enemy that was placed too late into the game. I think this boss should have replaced the Cerberus, because this is harder to fight than the Cerberus ever was. Cerberus was way harder than this, and it shows. But that's it for the Team Attack Amigos section of the game. Have a nice day, ladies and gentlemen.